The MLB All-Star game is Tuesday, and both league rosters have already been announced, but are constantly changing. 9 players have backed out of the game, including Jacob deGrom, Mookie Betts, and all 4 Astros representatives, despite making their league's rosters. Replacements were announced early Saturday, headlined by Tim Anderson in the AL and Max Scherzer and deGrom's teammate Taijuan Walker in the NL. What are your thoughts on these players skipping the game, and who are you glad to see replace them?
Yeah, well, different reasons for different things here. You know, deGrom, I completely understand. He's had a few injury problems. Huge second half for him and the Mets. If I was a Mets fan, I would be kind of thrilled that he's missing it. I know some of my friends are Mets fans. They love the news. Obviously, from a selfish baseball perspective, it does stink to not have a guy like Jacob deGrom start the game. And also, you have Woodruff and Gausman, who are scheduled to pitch Sunday for their respective teams. And so that eliminates them from pitching the All-Star game. Those have been the 3 best pitchers in the NL this year. So that is kind of a bummer there that we don't get them. But at the same time, as Dylan said on Nosebleeds Monday, we had a heated debate. It's just a game. And so it really is, obviously your team success is more important. You're not going to scratch a guy from pitching Sunday. Like, that's crazy. So on that perspective, I get it. I also like it for that NL because it gives deserving guys an all-star nod. We had the same argument over, is Taijuan Walker an all-star, Max Scherzer, Freddie Peralta, 3 guys that were objectively had all-star-like years, but just the stack pitching in the NL left them the odd man out. It usually does even out. So that was something that I kept in mind, and it does this year. It evens out. You get Walker in there. You get Freddie Peralta, Max Scherzer, Walker Buehler, 4 guys who had outstanding years who certainly any other year, they're all-stars. So from that perspective, it's good. And the Astros, though, that is something else. I mean, they all gave their own reasons. There's 0 reason to give any of them the benefit of the doubt, so I'm not going to do that, looking at that track record. And they're cowards at the end of the day. I really do believe that. You have to face the music. You put yourself in this situation. They talk all the time about embracing it, and this would be an opportunity to embrace it. Like, stand up to an Aaron Judge in the locker room, Altuve, who you took an MVP from. This is a good spot to do that, and you don't see the Astros doing that here. It is kind of weak. For whatever reason, it's different for everyone. I'm not going to say that Altuve's leg doesn't hurt. I'm not going to dispute that Correa's wife is pregnant. I don't think I have the evidence to do that. So, they have excuses. They're fine, I guess. You don't have to play in it. Nothing wrong with it, but I would have liked to see them put their money where their mouth is and embrace both big creative themselves.
First of all, embrace what? Like, I don't when they'll say, like, oh, we should just embrace it. This is like anything short of being ashamed of yourself about it is like, but that's just at least what I think of this. And of course we could be completely wrong about this. But, the Astros have given us reason to doubt in the past. So I think it's fair to say. Now, in terms of guys stepping out of the All-Star game, I have no problem with it. The 3 of us and our producer, Alex Walls, and any young folks listening, hello, by the way, we all came of age in a time when the All-Star game, they tried to give it meaning. They tried to give it home field in the World Series. And I, from the very start of my life as a baseball fan, thought, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my whole life. It was really stupid, especially, it seemed like baseball didn't know what they wanted because they wanted to have a representative from every team to make sure everybody was represented in this game. But they also tried to give the game meaning. It was just so pointless and dumb and stupid, and I'm very happy it's over. And it's for that reason that we don't have to worry about guys skipping out on the game. It's completely understandable. Now, as a fan of Jacob deGrom and as a fan of baseball on the national spectrum, I would have loved to have seen Jacob deGrom pitch in this game. Although I'm also a little worried that a whole nation who's been waiting to see him pitch on a national level all year wouldn't get their money's worth, considering he'd be pitching in Colorado and Jacob deGrom's given up 3 home runs in his last 2 starts. That concerns me. But nevertheless, it would have been cool to see him pitch in the game. Totally understand why not. Especially in an injury-prone year for him, as he's trying to maintain his full arm, truly. And what an incredible year this has been. And it's really cool to see his teammate Taijuan Walker get in the game. It was actually in the Mets press conference just last night as we record this. when Luis Rojas was the first to get to announce it to the media that Taijuan's going to pitch. That Taijuan's going to, but he also will likely get a chance to pitch in the game, which is wonderful considering how his schedule turned out. So that's wonderful to see. There's still some spots that haven't been filled yet, from my understanding, and there will probably be more people who drop out after we record this. It would be cool to see Taijuan Walker's other teammate, Marcus Stroman, also get a spot in this pitching staff because he has had just as good of a year as anyone else in the National League, Taijuan, who is not Jacob deGrom, we will say. So that's very exciting to see. But, I have no problem with players dropping out of the All-Star game, provided that every team does still have a representative of some kind. I think that's really what the spirit of the game is. I'm all for it.
Yeah, if I'm a Mets fan right now, I'm not mad. I mean, I guess that you're the best pitcher per season, of the millennium, maybe all time. We'll see. The season's been insane for Jacob deGrom. So you missed seeing him start on the mound for the National League, which is obviously a huge honor. It's fantastic when your guy is out there. I mean, personally, just seeing those clips of Pedro Martinez in the 99 All-Star game brings me a lot of pride for being a Red Sox fan. But you also have to respect that he's kind of putting this, one day of glory, which he's had in the past. He's, been absolutely lights out in All-Star games in the past. And he's putting that aside to focus on himself and his team in their pennant run. So I can respect that. But I will say it's a bit of a loss for MLB in that you won't get, the best pitcher you've seen in 20, 30 years on the mound in your All-Star game. It's just like a great exhibition, a huge number of you watching, players that they've maybe never seen before. You're going to get a lot of people who aren't even baseball fans that probably tune into the All-Star game just because of the fanfare. And it's just awesome to see all these fantastic players. So from that stance, yes, it's a bit of an L for MLB. Back to the Mets fan, you get Taijuan Walker in the game, which is fantastic. Now you have 2 starting pitcher All-Stars in the game. So that's, for a Mets fan, that's awesome. So because of the Astros, I could see where this is a bit of a move of cowardice on their part. Obviously, they all have their own reasons. You definitely don't want to miss a child's birth for an All-Star game, especially if you already played in one. Definitely get in trouble for that. So I understand that. But when you go back to the whole owning the cheating, there is really nothing to own other than the fact that you cheated. So you're not a victim. They like to be the role of victim. And it's almost like, yeah, because you cheated and you didn't really apologize for it. So, I don't really understand where the Astros players are coming from that perspective. But it's unfortunate to see that a bunch of, very high level big names like Mookie Betts, who didn't necessarily deserve to be an All-Star game based on this year's stats, but is still one of the most recognizable faces in the game. He'll be sitting out. But it's nice because it makes room for those snubs like Max Scherzer, who's had a 2.10 ERA, 12.2 K per 9, 3.09 FIP, whatever that is, and 35.5% strikeout percentage. I'm pretty sure the Washington Nationals tweeted those stats and compared them to Yu Darvish, who was voted an All-Star initially. It was named to replace some of those that opted out for the NL. But it's good to see that, some players that are deserving and did get snubbed will be replacing the that opted out. So that sense is nice, but also maybe it makes the All-Star allure a little bit less alluring because there's so many players that are now on the All-Star roster. But
can I say something really quickly? And I know this is going to get Ryan really mad, but it's one of my hottest baseball takes, and I have to say it. People talk about certain players not being deserving and getting named in the All-Star game. There are guys who have better WHIP or ERA plus or whatever stupid stat you want to throw. It's a game. I want to see my favorite. And it shouldn't be an accolade on a player's career. It really shouldn't be.
And let me say this. You wouldn't have found me in 2014, Derek Jeter's last year. You wouldn't have found me complaining about him not deserving to be an All-Star and starting the game. Yeah. Sure. So I get that.
Yeah, precisely. That's precisely my point.
All right, that's fair point. But I will still, and I'm not a salty Red Sox fan. Maybe I am, but I will still, to this day, acknowledge that Mookie Betts should not be an All-Star.